Hi there, welcome to our YouTube channel, Wholesome Sexuality. For those just watching this page for the first time, Wholesome Sexuality is a ministry geared towards providing wholesome advice, wholesome assistance to people sexually speaking. For years, we've had people make sex look like it's a dirty thing, make it look like you must learn it from pornography and from things like that. But sex is beautiful, sex is clean, sex is even holy because it was made by God. And we believe that you can get wholesome advice. And that's what this ministry is about. And it has been an amazing journey so far. We have our usuals in the house. We have our special medical consultant, Dr. Chris Williams.
Thank you.
If you're watching our YouTube video, you are already acquainted with him. Loads of helpful advice. And we have our sexologist in the house, or sexpert, anyway you want to call her, in the house, well-trained, versatile, also very experienced. Her name is Vera. Should we call you Dr. Vera?
Thank you very much, sir. Vera is fine.
So that's Vera in the house. All right. Today, we're talking about painful sex. Painful sex. So let me start with Vera. Is there such a thing as painful sex? And what are some of the causes?
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, so yes, there is painful sex. We can define painful sex as the name goes, sex that is painful, sex that causes pain, or sex that, well, basically sex that causes pain. And it can happen to both men and women, right? Various causes. It could be tight vagina. If the woman is not, okay, so a lot of people have the mindset that to lose their virginity, they have to go through a painful experience. So I'll actually say it actually starts from the mind. Because if we have been pumped with the information that sex for the first time has to be painful, then you automatically expect pain when you're having sex for the first time, even when you don't feel it. Just because you've been told. The same way says, the Bible says, faith cometh by hearing, and by hearing of the word of God. It's the same way your fears and your doubts come by hearing, by the information you put into yourself. So growing up, we've been told that the very first time you meet with a man, it must pain you. So when you are told that, even if you don't experience pain, your mind is conditioned that you would experience pain. So
what else can cause painful?
Is a medical condition, vaginismus. So this is a condition where the vagina contracts by itself. So, and then some other things like I started with the mind. If the person is afraid, past experiences, probably rape, probably molestation, because some people think molestation starts and ends with penetration. It might actually not even be a penetrative sex. It could have just been a clitoral stimulation that's the cause of the molestation, right? That alone can close the person's mind that whenever there is interference by a foreign body towards the vagina it sends a signal to the brain and it shuts. So once it shuts, no matter what happens there, it will cause pain. So that's another cause of painful sex. And then dryness. Dryness is a major cause of pain. Some people easily get lubricated. Some others, you have to do a whole lot of work. Like I usually say, for a man to get aroused, he just needs to see to get aroused. And then men are likened to tiger generator. For those in Nigeria, we know them as I pass my neighbor Jen, kick and start.
Come on.
But for the woman, she's likened to a Lister gen. Some Gen Zs who know what we mean by Lister gen. The generator that you have to whine and whine and whine and whine and whine and whine and then
you run away.
Exactly. Then it kicks off. So if these two people are different in those ways, when the man is already excited and the woman is still trying, you're still trying to turn on her engine, you're still trying to turn her engine, and then you just want to go in and come out, she's dry. It will cause pain. And as much as it's causing her pain, if she's dry, the friction will also cause you cause the man bruises,
yes,
thereby inflicting pain and injuries.
On the woman, even on the woman too, right? The woman
Yes,
too will
even on the
face.
woman, yes.
Wow, wow. Okay, Dr. Chris, do you want to add some more things that can cause it? And yes, go.
So like Vera has said, there's the vaginismus, and then there's the psychological one. There's also infection. Infection of the vaginal pathway of cervix, okay, infection of what we know in women as PID, pelvic inflammatory disease. So there's inflammation there. Anything that enters there wants to cause a pain. Also, menopause can be a cause. You know, at menopause, she talked about when there is dryness. At menopause, the woman's estrogen has gone down. So it's not easy for her to become lubricated. Okay, so that as a matter of fact, menopause, there is an atrophy, that's a reduction, a shrinking of the vagina one, and then it takes much more for them to get lubricated. So if the man doesn't know, he thinks that is the same old woman that he has already had, he will just try to go in earlier and all that. So lack of patience also. And then also when people are going through radiation therapy, yes, so somebody has a maybe cancer of the vulva down there and they're doing radiation, it can cause shrinking of that area and then can also cause pain. So like she said, pain can be physical, it can be psychological. The psychological pains are not less important. In fact, sometimes they are more chronic, they are much more difficult to deal with. Also, if somebody has fibroids, so fibroid is a pelvic thing, there's a swelling there. So during banging and all that, it can cause that thing to be moving. Ovarian cyst and every other, then if there has been a surgery in this area that didn't heal well, or scarring, it can cause pain. Also, if a woman has delivered, she delivered and then there was episiotomy, okay, and then the thing didn't heal well, so there's scarification. So somehow, a woman who didn't used to have pain can begin to have pain during sex.
Wow. The one you mentioned that when they get older, it will shrink and all that. When they shrink, like, do they get more wicked? Those kind of women. Which is in the village. Maybe that's what making them angry with people.
Because it's something else. I mean, some people come to the point where they think that somebody is bewitching them. Everything in their body changes. And it's something that somebody who has a wife who is dealing with menopause, you need to actually go to a school almost to re-understand this woman that you are living with. Yes.
Okay, interesting. All right, so if there's painful sex, if a couple comes to you and says there's painful sex, what are some of the questions you would ask and how are we going to proceed to dealing with the challenges?
History taking is very important when dealing with clients. So, because it will help you tell which one is responsible. I mean, so during history, you may find out that what she's calling pain is more psychological than physical. Just like she said, if somebody has been brought up being taught that sex is dirty, or that sleeping with a man is painful. You know, some of our mothers drum it into their girls. Oh, how many years do you have? How many years do you have? Sex is painful. Oh. A child can grow up with it, and long into marriage is still haunting her. So good history taking. And then, so if history taking has helped, examination can also help. Now, I'm talking as a doctor now. So the doctor can ask the woman to lie down and examine her. The vaginismus can be there. Then also, I talked about septate vagina, a situation where the woman has two in one vagina. For instance, this door that leads to the studio that we are in, imagine that it is divided. And to be able to bring in things, it will be much more difficult now. Okay, so it's either, so what happens is an abnormal condition.
Oh, because I thought, because some men will be happy if their wife have 2 vaginas. Just
Oh,
I'm married to 2
torture.
women.
It doesn't
so
help.
It's not like
it's
a
torture.
good thing. Okay.
It's not a good thing
Because some
at
people
all.
are just saying that's
it
what I'm
reduces
looking for.
the area, the space for manipulation, if you understand what I mean. And then it's causing everybody discomfort, both the man and the woman. And then also, I forgot to mention, some women, their hymen, even after months or weeks or years of having pain, it's not broken yet. That is, it's a very tight, thick hymen, tough hymen, and then a doctor will need to be able to cut it open. So examination history will reveal which one, and then one will know what to do for them.
Okay. So Vera, tell me something, maybe a case you've dealt with, or what you would do in a certain case if you find out what the cause.
Okay, so if I've done my history and found out that probably the cause for their own pain is dryness, so I would actually recommend lubricants.
Fantastic.
Recommend lubricants, and I always say please don't use oil-based lubricants, because the mindset growing up in science class, we are taught that lubricants are oils. So you hear people say use olive oil, use canola oil, use almond oil, and they will just bring a lot of things. And basically they're introducing foreign bodies into the vagina. The vagina is such a sweet place that it, as much as it gets things in, it cleans in itself. So it does not need any foreign body, introduced into it. So I would actually recommend water-based lubricants. So if we're going to use a lubricant for, okay, so I had a case where they actually said they had been using lubricants. A couple that had been married 10 days and had not been able to have sex. So they said they had been using lubricants. They spoke to somebody, the person advised, oh, get a lubricant. So they got a lubricant and he was applying it. Now, first, they didn't even understand their anatomy. So he just, because they got married as virgins. So he was rubbing the lubricant on
the outside.
On his face.
He didn't know that the thing is
inside. So some people don't even know that the vagina is a canal.
It's a canal, yeah.
So when we say vagina, people just think it's
just
just
a door.
Everything. Once the woman lies down, that's the vagina. No, the vagina is a canal.
Yeah, yeah.
So he was rubbing it on the vulva, basically.
Yes, yeah, the vulva.
So while rubbing it on the vulva, he will still try to penetrate.
She's dry.
She's dry. It's not working, and then they're having friction.
Yeah, yeah.
So when she said, oh, they bought a lubricant, so it was like, tell me something else. So I asked him, I said, so how do you use the lubricant? He said that he would just rub it on her. Then I asked her, when he rubs it on you, do you feel wet? She said, no. I said, that's because he's rubbing it on, not in. And in as much as you rub it in the vagina, you also have to apply it on the penis. Because if you rub in the vagina and the vagina is wet and the penis is dry, we're still having the same problem. So I had to teach them how to apply the lubricant, then use. So if I have a case where dryness is the problem, I would actually recommend the lubricant. And that lubricant actually comes where clitoral stimulation has failed. I use the word failed because some people are not patient enough to actually go through the process.
Yes, and there are even some weird cases or rare cases where the person just doesn't lubricate.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
So there
are cases. And there are sometimes, like I tell some people, as a married woman, have your lube. By your bedside table, because there are sometimes
it's part of your apparatus.
Yes, it's part of the things that make the ministry go forward.
Yes.
You know, when you come, sometimes he comes on to you and he's like I learned from my pastor, there's dutiful and there's beautiful sex.
Okay.
So beautiful sex is the one where all of both parties are ready to
it.
go 3 hours. Let's just be doing and be going, right? But dutiful is the one you are obligated to do
because the other partner
wants it. So it's not because you want it, but I'm doing my job, my duty to my husband. At that time, getting wet is not even on your list.
Fantastic.
So it's what people call quickie. He wants to have a quickie.
Yeah.
I'm dry. Get a lube. Apply on both of you, and then you help yourselves.
Yeah,
Hi there. Thank you for showing interest in our ministry and for seeking counseling or any of our resources. My name is Kingsley Okonkwo. I'm the founder and president of Love, Dating and Marriage Ministries. We're a ministry committed to helping people have better marriages, and better relationships. We have spanned right now close to 3 decades of doing this. I believe you are here to seek counseling or some support. I want to let you know that we have a great team of dedicated and trained counselors. So even if you cannot speak to me directly, even if you cannot book a session with me personally, I want you to be rest assured that any of my team members you get to talk with will give you the same quality of advice and help that I would give you. And guess what? I still kind of oversee what they do. So hey, somehow you'll still be getting my personal touch in your counseling session. So hey, don't let booking me personally limit you. Take advantage of all our trained counselors. There are people that have worked with me over the years and people I can really vouch for. I'm looking forward to hearing with you and getting feedback from you. God bless you. But it's also possible that there could be other psychological reasons why she's not getting wet. Oh yeah. So, Doc, how would you, address that?
She spoke to some of them. I wanted to ask, is it okay if we give them some examples of lobs that they can buy?
Yes, definitely.
Be careful not to
Okay.
For now, we're still in the free mode.
Okay.
After we'll start charging.
KY jelly, and then there's also Precede. There's one called Precede, okay, and all those. So don't use oil and don't use saliva. Don't use saliva.
People use saliva.
No, it will introduce the bacteria in the mouth into the vagina, and that's not good.
But people do oral sex.
Well, that's a talk for another day.
Yes.
Personally, I do not advocate oral sex. Okay, we should use what God created for the process. If you use it well, you will enjoy it. Okay, so that's that, but that's personal. Okay. The things that cause psychological, she spoke to them sometime.
Before you go into that, if all of you are saying don't use oil-based lubricants, use water-based, so why are they still manufacturing oil-based?
Well, it's people who are not informed, one, but when she's also talking about oil-based, she's talking about oils. Some people will use anointing oil. Some people will use. Some people, for maybe they are believing God for children. They say first wait, they will take olive oil and prove it, and then anoint it. Meanwhile, those things even kill the sperm. They kill the sperm. They bring infection there. So those are things she's talking about. Oil-based, water-based, KY gel, and these are very cheap things. Okay, yes, yes. So psychological. She spoke to it some when she talked earlier. Somebody had been raped, somebody's been abused. That's the husband is abusing the woman, or you are cheating her by doing runs outside and then you come home. No, it's very difficult for that woman to continue to be lubricated, no matter how you touch her. Okay, those are part of the psychological things. And then somebody else also, she spoke to it, who grew up thinking that sex is dirty, that sex must be painful, that sex must be bad. It can also go into their psychology and begin to affect them. Okay, so those are some of the causes.
Yeah, but now, okay, so somebody that for some reason is psychological, what kind of advice can we give them?
Go for counseling. Go for counseling. Renew your mind. Recondition your mentality. Sex is not dirty. We can say that from here till Jerusalem, and it will still mean what it means. Sex is clean. It's created by God for our enjoyment. Okay, so use that to recondition your. The mind is powerful. Joyce Meyer told us that where the mind goes, the man goes. One's productivity or one's results in life can never be better than your thinking. If you think sex is dirty, if you think that sex is not meant to be enjoyed, there's one thing or the other that will keep happening. So recondition your mind. Then go for counseling. See a therapist like Vera. Okay, keep her busy. keep her busy, talk to somebody, and then she may refer you to a doctor, because if she sees a hymen that is too tough there or too whatever, it's just a very simple process. So in 30 minutes, the person has gone home. So that's what I would tell somebody who is psychologically whatever. And then if it's a relational issue, try and see a counselor, a family life person, and reconcile your family. I mean, it does not just work together. You are abusing each other, man abusing the woman, woman abusing verbally and otherwise, and then you want to enjoy sex. It doesn't go together.
Yes. Because, like you mentioned, the cases of infidelity, we've had to deal with that a lot.
Yeah.
In infidelity recovery, because especially the women, like you said.
Yes.
In fact, well, we've seen cases where it's the men. I actually got a case like that where the man said his wife cheated on him, and he has not been able to get aroused.
Oh yes. I mean, the thing will just block. You remember I said there has to be a stimulation in the brain. So in this case now, is this brain stimulation that is not happening, and the man has to heal. And then if you are the partner going through it, heal for God's sake.
Yes.
Open up to the comfort of the Spirit of God. Let yourself be healed. If you plan to still be in this marriage, and you still cherish this marriage and you want it to work, heal on time. Because you're not healing will affect your response to sex, and then before you know it, the other person will get tired. They'll go and seek satisfaction everywhere, or they'll carry their kangaroo and leave.
Yes, yes. So most people don't realize that the mind is the biggest sex organ.
Oh yes. Say it again, sir.
Yes, the mind is the biggest sex organ.
Yes.
Very important.
Yes.
So Vera, I want you to talk a bit about that. Then also tell me about a case if somebody comes to this kind of cases, psychological, what are some of the steps that you tell some of them? So those two things, yes.
Okay, so let's talk about the mind.
Yes, the mind being the biggest sex organ, and then what advice you normally give people that are dealing with, things, psychological pain.
Okay, I would like to take it from where Doc took it. I actually liked the way he said where your mind goes, the man goes. Yeah. So everything rises and falls in the mind, in the state of your mind. If you are happy, everything around you, it radiates, it shows forth, not just sex, in everything you do. Yes. So, okay, let me give an instance, maybe to buttress what I want to say. I had a client that came in and said she's done sexually, actually. Okay. She's done, she's tired of this whole sex thing, and I'm like, why? She says she has been suffering, right? She's married for 5 years, 3 kids, and her husband happens to be enjoying it, and she's not. And I'm like, if your husband is enjoying it, why are you not enjoying it? She says she feels he just comes and does what he wants to do and go, right? And then she's okay with it. She had been okay with it for a while until we started talking about wholesome sexuality, and she felt, okay, let her ask for help. And she said, I said, so for you to be asking for help, that means you know that you can actually enjoy this thing, right? So I started with history. Let's find out what the matter is. Where did it start from? What was your first introduction to sex? And she first tried getting aggressive, and then later on, so I knew that was a major issue, was a soft spot. And then took it away from there, asked her how is the baby. So I tried to settle her down. And then out of the blue, she started talking again. So she said her first introduction to sex was, she was molested earlier in life by an older person in the house. So somebody molested her, and for her, basically, why she said she didn't want to have sex any longer was the fact that she wasn't enjoying penetrative sex. So I think we've talked about this. So when her husband penetrates her, she doesn't have an orgasm. So for her to have an orgasm, she has to be the one riding. So she's basically having a dry rump on her husband.
That means when she's on husband, the husband is not in her.
The husband is not in her.
She's just on him.
So she's just on him. So for her to have an orgasm, she has to have a dry rump with her husband. So I said, have you actually spoken to your husband about this? She said, yes, he's okay with it. So I think part of what was even her issue is the fact that my guy is all right with everything. So he's not really, since he's okay, it's okay, you know. And you explained that previously when you said, for a man, once he has an ejaculation,
he's okay.
He's done, he's
Whichever
good.
way it
Whichever
came.
way the ejaculation came, he's fine, right? But he's not also considering what's happening with his spouse. So when I asked her, she said that she has had conversations with her husband and he's cool and everything. I said, okay, that's good. You guys have a good communication, Kenny. And then we got digging deeper was when she revealed the fact that the molester didn't have penetrative sex with her. He only used to arouse her clitoris.
Wow.
No, she actually said her vulva.
Okay.
That he only used to arouse her vulva. So I now said to her that, do you know that this has affected your sex life now? She's like, no, she's not aware. I said, okay, let me explain the dry rump you do with your husband. Now, every time you climb your husband for a dry rump, you are mimicking
what the molester
did.
Wow.
So what you're doing, you're trying to create friction between your pelvics and his pelvics. And when you do that, so when the molester was doing it, he was sending signals to your brain that this is sex. So your brain has registered this as sex. So now when you are doing that with your husband, no matter what your husband does to you, it's not sex until you mimic that experience.
Action, yeah.
So, and I said, have you tried asking your husband to stimulate your clitoris while he's inside of you? She goes, no. Wow. I said, why? She said, even if he tries, she wouldn't let him. So he's doing that, reminds her of her molester.
Wow.
So all this is happening in her mind. So this is how her mind is affecting her present sexual experience. So first helping her understand what she was going through had already helped her, because her realizing that, oh, there's a connection between then and now, right, cleared a certain level for her. Awesome. Then she also complained about low libido. And so I asked, she was talking about her, that she's no longer interested. That was before we got to that history. She said, oh, that I was quite loud. She just laid her baby to sleep. Then I asked her, how old is your baby? She said 6 weeks. Then I laughed. She said, oh, am I laughing? I said, you are still in postpartum, which is also a cause of low libido. So first revealing, understanding what she was going through and helping her explain it actually helped her mind. Now she was ready to know, how do we do this? Fantastic. I want to get out of this. So I said first, actually, because now that you're breastfeeding, you're taking care of baby, you have 2 toddlers under the age of 5, sex is the last thing on your mind. Even when the man is on top of you, all you're thinking of is, how insensitive can you be, sir? Can't you see all what I have to go through? And all that is on your mind is sex, right? So you are going into your matrimonial bed with a clogged mind. Nothing under the on earth can happen with that. So she said, how can she declog her mind? I said, simple. Remove it. Remove it. Stop thinking about, you want to have sex. So one thing I said to her is, try initiating sex. Now, when you initiate sex, you actually are taking control of the experience. Now you are in charge of what happens. So when you initiate sex, like I said, for the woman, it's a process for a woman to get aroused. So if the woman is the one initiating it, she has taken herself through the major parts of the work. So by the time she's meeting with the man, she has got past 75% of her arousal. So I said to her, initiate sex. She said, how? I said, you don't have to break a bank. You don't have to break a bank. Let's start with your mind. Sort out the kids. Sort out baby. You need to express enough milk. Express enough milk. You need to get somebody to help you watch the kids. Get somebody to help you watch. Those are the things that will distract your mind when you're having sex. Get somebody to help you watch the kids. Then have a good bath.
Come on.
Wash away breast milk. Wash away, everything. Simply standing under a hot shower can cleanse
Massages
you.
the body.
Yes. Have a good bath. When you look good, you feel good, you are able to give good. So I said to her, I said, have a good bath, cleanse yourself. If you need fragrances around you, if you need scented candles, creates the atmosphere to help you have a good sexual experience. The man is not a problem. The man only needs to see you to say, baby, let's do this. So get your environment intact. Then I also talked about her mind, helping her with her mind. I said to her that I can send her affirmations that she will say to herself. Same way faith comes by hearing, right? Say things to yourself. I'm beautiful. I'm a sexual being. My husband will be satisfied by me. I would enjoy and give pleasure to my husband. I told her, I said, you like
me? That's a powerful one. Because the word says that you shall have whatsoever you say.
Yes. So I said to her, I said, if you like listening to music, how about you record your voice saying those affirmations?
Awesome.
And surround your environment with what you want to hear. So if you record it, if I send you the affirmations, record your voice saying it, play it. Anything you're doing, you're hearing it, you're feeling yourself with it. You begin to feel good. You begin to think of things that make you feel and look good. By the time the man is coming into the house, everywhere is ready.
It will be electrified.
Yes, everywhere is ready. There has to be something that will come and interrupt the process that day, you know. And she was so happy about it. Awesome. So I think what helped was her meeting somebody that understood where she was coming from and could help her, you know, through the process of where she was coming from to where she is now.
And
connected it. So now she's ready to go forward.
Awesome.
Wow. Okay, that's good. Doc, any parting words on painful sex?
Painful sex can be dealt with. Nobody has to endure sex. Sex is created to be enjoyed. And if you come out and speak up, you and your partner, you go for counseling, you see therapists like Vera, or you are going to get some referrals from me. You see a doctor, and then you take some book and read it. You can receive help. And then don't keep hiding under the guise that that's how I am. I don't enjoy. Let him just stay. Your spouse is not created, it's not designed not to enjoy you sexually. Yes.
I think that's where, in fact, that's why this page started and this ministry started, because I feel too many people associate sex or sexuality with filth and, you know, bad behavior. So they don't want to talk about it publicly. They're ashamed to approach a professional. Listen, it's okay to talk about it. You are never alone. Whatever you're dealing with, you are never alone. We hear many, many cases every day. Trust me, there's nothing you're literally going to tell us that will be new. And many people have been helped, and you also can be helped. All right, so please reach out to us. We are still at the period where we're giving free consultations. All right, it's not going to last forever, and it depends on when you're watching this video. So we're still at that point. So please reach us. You see our details on the profile and all that. Reach us, and we'll give you a free consultation. And then follow us on all platforms: Instagram, Facebook, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Watch our other videos, like, send, share. All right, and follow all our other pages. All right, so thank you one more time, Dr. Chris Williams and Vera, the sexologist or the sexpert. All right, so loads of more powerful and helpful material on this page. Subscribe. Look forward to seeing you in the next video.